All right, it's a beautiful, beautiful day to be alive and well. Welcome on today's edition of our show. We're glad you could join us. This is Political Spectrum coming to you live from Uyo, the state's capital, and I remain your host, Onwese Ehinoma Olusegun. As usual, today promised to be exciting and engaging. As usual, our conversations continue on everyday political and economic developments in Nigeria. Conversations on policy and policy actions of government with the immediate reactions by citizens, big businesses, institutions, and the civil society, making government more and more accountable to its people. Now, first on the President Tinubu's administration's calendar, today is October the 18th. It's a Wednesday, 2023, and it marks exactly 43 days of President Bola Tinubu in office as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This is now 4 months and 23 days as Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. All right, without much ado, we move into some of the major developments around the nation's polity. Tinubu has confirmed the appointment of a new ICPC chairman and secretary, pending when the current one will be going on terminal leave. Now, President Bola Tinubu has appointed Musa Aliyu, a lawyer and an attorney general of Jigawa State, as the new chairperson of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC. He also appointed Clifford Okparodu as the secretary to the commission. A statement by presidential spokesperson Ajuri Ingilale on Tuesday. Now, the appointments are subject to Senate's confirmation, yes. The appointment, according to the statement, is sequel to the request of the outgoing chairman of the commission, Bolaji Owasonye, whose statutory tenure still remains over 3 months to proceed on a pre-end of tenure leave beginning on the 4th of November 2023. Mr. Owasonye's tenure is statutorily due to expire on 3rd of February 2024. Now, the presidential statement on Tuesday said the appointment of Mr. Aliyu as the ICPC chairman and Mr. Okparodu as the secretary of the commission is part of Mr. Tinubu's agenda to reform key institutions and reinvigorate Nigeria's war on corruption. Now, the announcement comes on the heels of the president's controversial appointment of Olanipekun Olukoyede as the chairperson of the sister anti-corruption agency, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Now, the announcement came days after this. We had reported that the president was planning to name Mr. Olukoyede as the commission substantive chairperson. We also reported that Mr. Tinubu was considering appointing a retired justice of the Supreme Court, Abdul Aboki, as the new ICPC chair, but it was learned that there was a last-minute decision to drop Mr. Aboki, who hails from Kano, northwest Nigeria. Many had shared their concerns about appointing a 71-year-old man, Mr. Aboki, to head the crucial anti-corruption agency in an era of fast-changing dynamics of corruption in public office, which he will have to confront. The presidency said the newly named ICPC chair, Mr. Aliyu, has embarked upon many far-reaching reforms as the Attorney General of Jigawa State since September 2029 and holds bachelor's, master's, and doctorate degree in law. All right, moving to our next development. Reject social media regulation bill, Serap tells Akpabio and Abbas. Now, the Social Economic Rights and Accountability Project has urged the Senate President Godswill Akpabio and Speaker House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas to, quote, reject the recently reintroduced social media regulation bill. Now, Serap noted that the passage of the bill would unduly restrict the rights to freedom of expression and privacy, and urged President Bola Tinubu's administration to stop its efforts to compel technological firms like Google and YouTube to restrict such fundamental human rights, according to Serap. Now, this was contained in a statement by the group's Deputy Director, Kolawole Oluwadare, on Sunday. The statement read in parts, and I quote, "The National Broadcast Commission last week reportedly stated that one of Nigeria's major problems is now social media, and described social media as a monster. In the letter dated 14th October 2023 and signed by SERAP Deputy Director Kolawole Oluwadare, the organization said social media is neither Nigeria's problem nor a monster. Any regulation of it would have arbitrary and excessive effects and cause incalculable damage both in material and human right terms. They continue, and I quote, "Any move to regulate social media will be inconsistent and incompatible with the provision of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, and the country's international human rights obligations under Section 39 of the Nigerian Constitution, Article 19 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, and Article 9 of Africa's Charter on Human People's Rights. Any restriction on freedom of expression constitutes a serious curtailment of human rights." They continue, and I quote, "The Nigerian Constitution and these human rights treaties protect everyone's right to freedom of expression, which includes the freedom to seek, receive, and impart information of all kinds, regardless of frontiers. States have the obligation to respect and ensure the right to freedom of expression without distinction of any kind." Now, the Nigerian Constitution and human rights treaties protect a broad range of expressions, including political discourse, commentary on one's own and public affairs, canvassing, discussion of human rights, journalism, and artistic expressions. This includes information that may be regarded as offensive, false, or untrue, by some people, but is considered legitimate political discourse by others. Now, restrictions on the right of freedom of expression are only permissible when they meet the requirements of legality, necessity, proportionality, and non-discrimination. They continue, and I quote, "The onus to show that restrictions comply with those requirements is on the state seeking to restrict the rights. Social media regulation bill generally does not meet those requirements. The African Commission on Human and People's Rights has called upon states not to engage in or condone any restriction of access to the internet or other digital technologies to segment of the public or an entire population." Now, SERAP stated, according to our information, Director General of the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, Balarabe Ilela, recently stated that the social media regulatory bill has been sent to the National Assembly. The bill is reportedly seeking to repeal and reenact the NBC Act cap of L11, Laws of Federation of Nigeria, as at 2004. Now, SERAP stated further, and I quote, "Similarly, Mrs. Francisca Ayeton, Director of Broadcasting Monitoring of the NBC, recently said that without regulations, young people could be misguided. According to NBC, the federal government is currently engaging with Google, YouTube, TikTok, so we know the faces behind these social media platforms," it added. According to our information, the newly introduced social media regulation bill seems to be replica of the version of the Protection from Internet Falsehood and Manipulation Bill 2019, with provisions empowering the authorities to unilaterally order the shutdown of the internet. A similar bill to regulate social media was considered by the National Assembly in 2015 but failed to pass into law after public outcry. Now, there you have it. The social media regulation bill has commenced again. And from the stables of the presidency, we have heard it to be described as a monster. The question is, are there issues arising from social media and freedom of expression? Well, hell yes. But it is important that the average right of the average Nigerian to express himself and associate is entrenched in the Constitution and is taken to the latter. All right, let's check on another development we are following critically as we speak. I'll make a statement. I have no hand in your removal by court. Akpabio has finally answered and is telling Senator Abo. Now, the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, has debunked a claim by Elisha Abo, the senator sacked by the Court of Appeal, that he's influenced the judgment of the court. The appeal court, in a unanimous decision on Monday, nullified Mr. Abo's election as the senator representing Adamawa North Senatorial District. Hours after the judgment, the senator claimed that Mr. Akpabio was responsible for the nullification of his election. He also said 4 other senators, including that of Abia North, Orji Kalu, who opposed Mr. Akpabio's bid for the Senate presidency, would suffer same fate, according to Elisha Abo. Now, Mr. Abo did not, however, disclose the names of the other 4 senators, but in a statement on Tuesday, Eseme Eyibo, spokesperson for Mr. Akpabio, said the Senate president had no hand in Mr. Abo's sack by the court. Mr. Eyibo, who expressed shock over the allegation, described it as delinquent, provocative, and unbecoming of a distinguished senator. Now says, and I quote, "It is only a deceased and uninformed mind that will not believe that the outcome of any court proceeding is a function of the evaluation of facts and evidence within the province of the rule of law." He states, and I quote, "It is uncharitable for Senator Abo to pour his frustrations on Senator Akpabio or anyone else, and his actions betrays the bile he has for Senator Akpabio. Democracy is founded on the rule of law. So for anybody to accuse one of the strong agents of democracy and governance in the mold of Senator Godswill Akpabio, such an individual must be a monument of self-pity and is swan-song or discordant escape from reality," he said. Now, Mr. Eyibo went further. Senator Akpabio, for emphasis, has no ill will towards any of his distinguished colleagues, and as he has said in the past, the embers of the leadership election have been buried and replaced by the fraternal bond of nation building he shares with the overwhelming majority of senators, he said. Now, also on the same issue, Monday Ubani, the special advisor to the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, has said his principal has no hand in the removal of Senator Elisha Abo. He added that the allegation of the lawmaker representing Adamawa North in the National Assembly is, according to him, reckless, defamatory, and childish, for it lacks proof and merit. Now, Ubani stated this in a release on Tuesday, adding that neither Akpabio nor the National Assembly intervenes in judicial decisions. It is surprising that the Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria does not understand the elementary workings of the 3 arms of government under democracy. The legislature, which Senator Elisha Abo was a member, should not and does not interfere with judicial decisions over cases that they handle. All right, that statement is credited to Barrister Ubani, who is a special advisor or a special aide to the Senate President. All right, all these are will form parts of our conversation this morning. Let's quickly look at one other major issue within the Red Chamber that occurred yesterday and is being discussed and criticized across all major news platforms. Fresh trouble in Senate as Akpabio-Ndume clash. The brewing crisis in the Senate came to new heights yesterday as the chief whip, Senator Ali Ndume, stormed out during plenary to protest the refusal of the Senate President Godswill Akpabio to address alleged procedural errors. To prevent the situation from degenerating, Akpabio requested that his colleagues meet behind closed doors for further discussion. Which means behind closed doors obviously means that all media platforms will be suspended for some kind of secret meeting. Now, let us see how it actually began. Now, trouble started minutes after the commencement of the day's session when Senator Ali Ndume of the APC Borno South raised a point of order to draw the Senate President's attention to alleged procedural errors committed by him, that is the President, which were yet to be corrected. Now, specifically, Ndume referenced a motion on the need for reopening of Nigeria's Niger border, which was moved by Senator Sumaila Kawu, NNPP Kano South, which Akpabio allowed to be debated without first having the official title of the motion read as the normal procedure. Now, Ndume, relying on the Order 51 of the Senate Standing Rules, requested that the Senate President should allow for the correction of any error made or observed during plenary. Let me quickly quote. He said, and I quote, "This is the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria guided by laws, rules, and procedures. If in the course of proceeding at any session errors are observed, they must be corrected before forging ahead with such proceedings. Mr. President, there are some things we do in this chamber that are against the rules. Sir, nobody is too big to learn." Akpabio had hardly allowed Ndume to end the speech when he turned him out of order, saying since he had ruled on issue raised, it could not be revisited. Undaunted, another senator, Sunday Karimi, APC Kogi West, rose in defense of Ndume's point of order by raising another point of order. He was equally ruled out of order by the Senate President. In an attempt to douse the tension, which was reaching feverish pitch, Deputy Senate President Jibrin Barau quickly raised another 16, which requires a substantive motion to be moved by any senator seeking to correct or review an earlier decision taken. Akpabio sustained this order, and this infuriated Ndume, who equally raised another point of order, specifically Order 54, to seek correction of the perceived error. Again, Akpabio ruled him out of order without allowing him to exhaust his line of argument. Now, at the moment Ndume storms out, at this point Ndume had had enough. He picked up his documents and a few other belongings and stormed out of the Senate chamber. His actions, which was obviously unexpected, led the Senate to dissolve into what they called a closed session. Incidentally, Ndume was Akpabio's campaign manager during the race for the Senate presidency in June. Surprising. Now, this is happening at the time senators are preparing to leave for Uyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital, for a retreat that will begin today. Were there tensions building? Okay. Tensions had been building up long before the Senate resumed from its long vacation in September. There were speculations about moves to impeach the Senate president and effect a change in the leadership over Akpabio's alleged insensitivity to the demands of senators, sidelining of some ranking senators in the headship of the committees. He was also accused of kowtowing to President Tinubu an unsavory role during the screening and confirmation of ministerial nominees in August. Now, this prompted the Senate President's media office to issue a statement dismissing the speculation as a figment of the imagination of the authors. However, Senator Elisha Abo, who was on Monday sacked by the appeal court, issued a statement on behalf of the powerful Northern senators accusing Akpabio's office of trying to pitch them against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But the Senate President's aide had responded by stating clearly, Senator Akpabio, for emphasis, has no ill will towards any of his distinguished colleagues. And as he has said in the past, the embers of the leadership election has been buried and replaced by the fraternal bond of nation building he shares with the overwhelming majority of senators. Now you begin to ask, the National Assembly, especially the Senate, is at the core of limelight again with lots of activities. Recall that recently the National Democratic Coalition, NADECO, alongside other civil society organizations, have called for the resignation of Akpabio from that position as Senate President, and they tagged a lot of issues at him. First, his leadership style. Secondly, not carrying, other key officers of the Senate along, and not according the usual respect and value to them, amongst a lot of other accusations. So we will go on a break as we speak. Thereafter, I'll be back for one of our guests to join us virtually from Warri. We'll be having a robust discussions of activities in the Senate amongst other issues. This is Political Spectrum on Spectrum Television. Stay tuned. Join us again. Go straight into our conversation today. I have learned that our guest is already waiting virtually from this oil city of Warri, and that is Barrister Casely Omoirabo, National Chairman of the Human Rights Defenders Organization, and he was a governorship aspirant APC for Edo in 2024. I understand he's also a member of civil society of some sort and a public defender. Mr. Irabo, or shall I address you as Barrister Irabo? Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Nice to see my learned silk. Quite a while, sir.
Thank you so much. I'm grateful.
I greet you, sir. In our local parlance, we'll say Domo, sir. Domo no why. I greet you, sir.
Thank you, my brother.
Nice to have you, sir. Nice to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure you've been following all the major developments in our nation's polity. But I'd like to start this way, because I have also asked the question of some of my guests in other subsequent shows. Tinubu appoints Musa Aliyu, finally, a lawyer from Jigawa State, as ICPC boss, hours after SAN Falana, another very known lawyer, had criticized and said, you cannot appoint ICPC, EFCC heads from the same region by Federal Character Commission Acts. Now, Barrister, do you see these as a positive response of the president towards critics, or how can you describe this new development?
Well, it is true. My learned friend, Femi Falana SAN, said it very well, that we cannot all base the appointment on the solid area. We know that the president wants to work with people he knows, people he trusts, people that can deliver. But then, we must be very conscious of our nation. The sensitivity of our country is that you cannot say a whole tribe, a whole geographical location do not have experts, or they don't have credible people, or they don't have people integrity. No. So what Femi Falana said was a good pointer. I'm very happy that the president listened to the voice of reason and appointed my learned colleague from Jigawa State. Now the issue is that appointing somebody into ICPC, the first law is that before you appoint somebody to a legal position, he must have been more than 10 years in practice.
Okay, by the act.
If he was
by the act.
Yes, by the law too, the law establishing lawyers. And again, the Legal Practitioners Act is an act. Again, by the act of appointment of the my learned friend was quite right that the Federal Character Commission says that you must reflect the ethnicity and geographical position of the country before you appoint people. Now, the man appointed is the former Attorney General, or a called Senior Attorney General of Jigawa State. Yeah. And before you become Attorney General, you must have been more than 10 years at the bar. And not only that, he's a seasoned practicing lawyer. And Attorney General is, before you when you're an Attorney General, you are not sitting in the office. You are a practicing lawyer right there, defending the state at every level, from the area customary court to the Supreme Court. So appointing him to head the ICPC is okay, but you see, I have my fears too.
Let's share it.
Fears.
Let's share.
ICPC, yes, ICPC is not just a legal organization. It's also an investigative organization. So when we appoint somebody there, we have appointed only retired judges, Court of Appeal, Supreme Court, and practicing lawyer. And when we look at the investigative aspect of ICPC, this person corrupt and practice it needs people who have intelligence experience, people who have been in police force, intelligence in the army, people who have been into investigation, not just a practicing lawyer. We want the practicing lawyer to head, and when they are in a board meeting, you are asking everybody to report. Somebody is giving you intelligence, but you don't even know what it is. So we have lawyers who have served in the police, who are still serving the police. When Farida was heading EFCC, we clap for her because she is a lawyer and she is a policeman. So as a policewoman and a lawyer, she did very well. Noor Obadi was a policeman and a lawyer. So you must just support these things and have the confidence that person you are going to put there will not just be somebody who will be at sea when people are talking. When they gather in their boardroom meeting, please, somebody from the investigation, let you hear a report. And he's talking about investigation, you have no idea at all. You only know about the leg and prosecution and probably defense. But we're talking about investigation. And the ICPC starts investigation before you talk about prosecution. So we should have gotten somebody who is experienced both in investigation and litigation. That we would have gotten. Well, that has been made, well, let's give them the benefit of doubt that maybe his secretary may have that experience. I don't know. But he's supposed to have somebody who has such experience.
Okay. From the broader perspective, and with your depositions, I want to believe that you are amongst the people who are crusaders for let us effect more of federal character than those people shouting competence is enough, it doesn't matter where the person comes from. Since Nigeria, the unity of Nigeria has been called into question. So you are among the people who believe that federal character must always reflect more than ever in all we do.
There's no particular region, no particular state, no particular local government that do not have people of integrity, that do not have people who are erudite professors, that do not have people who are intelligent. No, if you marginalize those people, if you say we want competence, so it must be people from the West. No. Down, south, down, north, there are intellectuals. There are people too who are even activists. We have people like Umar Dangiwa. We have people like Zeusani. We have people in different regions who are equally intelligent, but only that you don't look at them. It's not everybody, all of us appear on TV, that the only people that are intelligent. There are people who do not have access to this publicity. And when you go into meetings with them, discover that they are the bottled leopard. Bottled leopard. If you remove the lead, you see how they perform. You did not even have access to them. Don't give them the opportunity. Of what use is the ability if there's no opportunity? So you say we don't need the federal character commission. Therefore, we must look for competence. Competence is everywhere. It was Amakwe that wrote the beautiful ones are not yet born. They are born, but they have no place here. You don't have access to them. They are everywhere. That is the truth. So as an activist over the years, as a student union leader, as a human rights activist, I've always believed that it is because you have not given people opportunity to exhibit the talent they have. You discover that you that is talking there, you are far better than you, if you give the opportunity you have. That's the truth.
All right, moving forward, a lot of people have also criticized the president, and they are saying he may also have been ethnocentric in his appointments prior to the last development yesterday. Did you also see the president as being ethnocentric? Because the argument was they were comparing him to the appointment model of the last administration, which a lot of people have adjudged was a woeful performance and some kind of failure. Do you think that President Tinubu has also given majority of the sensitive positions to the southwest where he comes from? And why would you think what you think? Yes, sir.
Thank you. I don't need to think so. I know so. The fact is that
that's interesting.
As a human being, yes, when I was contesting with the governor for the second time in 2016, before I joined the one I'm doing now, 2024, I already know the people who were moving with me. I know those who were stealing my money. I know those who came there to actually find out what they can get from me. I know those who were patriotic enough to even invest their money. So when you are talking of appointment, among your cycle, you know those who can be SSG. Among your cycle, you know who can be the Attorney General of the state. Among those, you know who can be in charge of finance. If you say you don't know, it's a lie. It's people that work with you from time. Okay. So as a senior governor, he has already known the current IGP as a good police officer. So when he became president, was it paraded for him to have to look for somebody within the police force who has the same dream with him? So he called the CSO and appointed him. But mind you, the CSO did not sleep. If he was sleeping till now to be appointed, he would not have been appointed. He grew through the ranks of the position of AIG. Then he was appointed IG. So when we say, for example, the Honorable Justice Odili of the Supreme Court appointed his two daughters as judges, did they appoint mechanics as judges? They grew up the rank too. They are lawyers, and they've gotten all the required to become a judge. So when Tinubu is accused of appointing people into government, of being people from his tribe, yes, they are correct. I've seen so. But appointing people he knows he can entrust responsibility to. People who has been proven. When he was governor, he built up a lot of people who are now today great men running the country. Like Fachola, Rufus Sola, many of the ministers and governors were his voice. And they did very well. He wants to assemble such a team again at the federal level. But there's a problem there because it cannot all just be Westerners. What about the Igbos who have been so marginalized? What about the Northeast and the Northwest? Especially the Southeast that have been over marginalized in this country. Are we going to close our ear or close our eyes against the crowd of IPOD? Even if you kill 10,000 Nnamdi Kanu, more will still rise. In the Niger Delta, when we killed Azigboro, we thought we have had peace. Until when the Topoli came up, Ataketop came up, Boilif came up. And now how many Azigboro can you kill? So you must begin to carry people along. As Tinubu is looking for the best from the West, I implore him to look up north, to look down east. And we have integrity, people with integrity. Don't always appoint Minister of Steel or Minister of Science and Technology from the East because you believe they are intelligent. You are insulting them. Every minister we appoint for
science and technology,
whatever it's called, science and technology, it must be a minister now.
Yeah, I remember immediate past of Boma.
Yes, from Boma, it's always that become regular that is Boma that was appointed for science and technology.
Probably because probably because they are seen to be very intelligent and analytical, and they have scientific minds.
Are we tapping that intelligence from the East? Whether they are killing them, arresting them. Like I told President Jonathan, why are you arresting Niger Delta for producing petrol you cannot produce? They built their own refinery in their own crude way, and they are producing fuel that is not destroying our engine, fuel that is not destroying our generators. And you are arresting the of you to bring them as, send them to school, harness them, you are arresting them. Which one has your government produced? That's why we're importing from South Africa. We're importing from Britain. Our own oil, we sell it in crude, and they bring it for we subsidize it.
Well, that is a beautiful digression anyway.
Farm, give, because his motor is not good, give it to an outsider to boil the yam, pound it, and sell this yam to his children as food. And because the children cannot afford it, he put plenty money, he call it subsidy, so that children will not be angry. Is that not laziness? How many refineries we have that are functional? None. But the private
no, but what government is saying, just like I said, it's a beautiful digression, but what government is saying about illegal refineries is let's regulate it. The people who have the skills and the wherewithal to produce, let's come together under a regulation, so whatever you produce now becomes legitimate and can be distributed, through legitimate means.
The gold man in Zamfara, who is harnessing them? Yes. No. Is it because we are not talking yet? What are you saying? Who holds the oil? And these boys don't even break pipeline anymore. They buy the crude from the source and refine it. And you are killing their children and arresting them. What are the Navy you send to arrest them are part of the old system. And you instead of you to harness them, trade them, and make them build more refinery,
that's the intention of government, Barrister. That's the intention of government. And the case of Zamfara you just mentioned is also under heavy scrutiny. The case of Zamfara that you mentioned, yes, go
on. For how many years? Let me tell you, anything done in Niger Delta or in the South is always criminalized because they believe we are criminals. Anything done in other aspects of the country, they are heroes. Can you imagine people who are kidnapping and killing us? Somebody say grant their amnesty and pay them money. Can you just imagine? That's what the agitation to the North.
So because they are also claiming that when we had a sectarian crisis and issues of kidnapping in the south by the militants,
Yes.
that the only way they resolved
Yes.
it was also by amnesty.
Oh,
So if
I
you
like
look
what
at
you
it
just
pari
said,
passu,
by the militants.
barrister, their arguments
Yes.
may have some kind of logic and sequence, although a lot of people don't agree.
No, in the South, they had a purpose. Their main purpose, they were agitating for a better environment. There was environmental degradation and exploitation of oil from their own village, and there's no single one like be given to them.
Well, the Northerners don't see it that way.
When
The Northerners don't see it that way.
they don't see it that way. That one must go to them and grant criminal amnesty and start paying them. People who derail a raid and kill everybody they need, and then we go and pay them. People, federal government is paying ransom to release soldiers who are arrested, who are kidnapped, and we should go and pay them. There's a problem in this country. Therefore, I have always said that since the thing that binds us together is no longer there, let us negotiate our respective exit. We can still be one like a United Nations, United Nigeria, AU, and then pay common. It's called a confederation.
Barrister, a lot of us will take exception to that. Even from the administration of Goodluck Jonathan, even when he constituted the confab, he said the unity of Nigeria is non-negotiable. So rather than talking about granting
the constitution allowed true federalism. True federalism means everybody is in charge of whatever is found in this environment.
That is correct.
Pay tax to the central government. Pay tax to federal government. Why will you say that all state governors are in charge of land? That is the Land Use Act Chapter 1.
True.
All the land are under the state
belongs
government,
to the state government.
and then they give grant UC of O. But when all you find in that same land now belongs to the federal government, what double law is this?
No, they say resources under the land is in the exclusive list, and that has been since whenever. But ideally, sir, if those laws are to be changed, the National Assembly should effect that. But the question is, the people who are agitating for the change of that law, resources being removed from the exclusive list, to the normal list, the people are a minority in the National Assembly, because the people who are enjoying these benefits are a majority. So the structure has been so constituted that it will be very difficult to change such laws. Yes,
I'm asking you, the people in Zamfara, the land is under the state governor, and the state governor is regulating the gold there. You can imagine, but the oil in Niger Delta, it belongs to the federal government. The gold in Zamfara belongs to the state government. That is the type of country we are. How will you not say there will be a revolution? There must be one day that we are forced to sit down and think of how we live together or we part our ways. That is the truth. I'm not asking for a revolution, but it's already snowballing gradually. And when you plan a revolution, it will not work. But when it comes spontaneously, people prepare to die. That's the truth. We better avoid it now. Let us sit down. Let us sit down and negotiate the thing that brings us together and live as one. Like I tell governors, you'll be waiting for the federal government to give you allocation from federal government of oil before you can develop your state. But within your seat there, there's a lot to be done. Internal general revenue. You go and start, you are drawing tax. You see a man on the way, you stop his vehicle. You are saying he has not paid something. You see ordinary hairdresser, you close his hair shop because he did not pay you tax. You see a small clinic, a private entrepreneur trying to bring up where the curing people, go and seal it up with your paper. He did not pay money. That is not internal general revenue. That is an oppression. What you ought to do, they are going to give soft loan to this private enterprise to develop and grow. Where will you get that loan? If indeed Dangote can build refinery, why can't Nigeria Delta build? Why can't Delta State not build? If indeed just 39 billion, and now you are giving us 5 billion, I don't know the madness. If we that produce oil, if Dangote can build refinery, why can't Delta State build? Why can't Edo State build? Why can't Bayelsa build? So that if we can have a Edo line, why can't we have a Edo airline? We don't have.
I'm very happy you are a lawyer, sir. So you know the process with which such laws will eventually be changed. But let us come back to the Senate, which seems to be the major focus of our discussion this morning.
There's no law in this country that forbid a state government from doing a refinery.
Okay,
When that license can be given to an individual.
Okay.
Look, oil man license are given to everybody.
Recently, President Tinubu just signed into law that states can generate electricity. So it's getting better. All those were still within the exclusive list
before he signed into law. Before he signed into law, individual already have generator. You don't have generator of the electricity. I don't get it. Before it was signed into law, that your studio, you are running generator.
That is correct, sir. 24 hours.
Okay. In the state house, in the government houses, I don't know generator. The team arrest them for you all those are paperwork. We don't need to amend our papers or constitution. We need to amend our head. It's laziness.
All right, sir. Let's come back. Let's come back to the National Assembly, sir. Let's come back to the Red Chamber.
Yeah.
All right. Senator Abo has been removed by the appeal court, and he has reacted to this by pointing to Akpabio as the originator of his woes. Now, he even mentioned that Orji Uzor Kalu may be next, among 4 others that he refused to mention their names, with reasons. Now, how do you see these allegations? I want us to focus on the National Assembly because the developments there, I don't know how to describe it, whether they are awry or weird or ugly, but some things are beginning to emanate. So how do you see this, recent trend of Abo having the confidence to mention that Akpabio is behind, mention one other senator that you are next, and 4 other people because it is payback time?
My brother, I don't even see the National Assembly as being the problem. My constituency is on trial, it's the courts is on trial. Remember, a senator once told us that his wife, who was President Court of Appeal, was influencing the decisions of that government, of that court. Until today, nobody arrested the judge or arrested him. We are in a country of lawlessness. Anything can happen. So I am afraid that the justice of the Supreme Court will hear the allegation of a man that has just been removed and will not immediately order his arrest. Because it's based on the character of the judges. And do I blame him, assuming for just one chance that is correct? The country is look, the president of the Senate, Akpabio, was my classmate in law school. And he's a lawyer. And he was an eminent lawyer. I do not know whether he has decided solo as to influence judgment. But it's not impossible. But I'm not saying that he did it. But for Abo to have raised that alarm, nobody just wake up and raise the alarm. Behind every crying child, there's a masquerade. Go behind, you have not seen it. There's a masquerade.
Barrister, is it only masquerades that make children cry?
When you
I like that adage.
When they are at the wall. Yes.
Is it only masquerades that make children cry? No, other things make children cry.
When you see a child crying and pointing to a wall, there's a masquerade. There's somebody is there that is trying to frighten the child. You don't say, shut up, shut up. It's not shut up.
Okay, that's an interesting addition to the conversation, that behind every crying child there's a masquerade. All right, go on.
Then we begin to overhaul the judicial system in this country. If he's unable, he should be prosecuted. This is what I say every day. The fact that we just allow things go. We allow things go. The problem is that when he's now saying that Orji Kalu is the next and facing the next, the same disgrace, the same removal, let's just quickly put the judges as alert. But that doesn't mean that justice will not prevail. They should say it as it is. You say that they are saying it and not give a damn. But if indeed they are being influenced, it's rather unfortunate. So
it's unfortunate.
Because like I say, the judiciary in my country is on trial. That is true.
It's unfortunate, but Akpabio, through his aides, Ubani and the other gentleman, have come to say that maybe Abo doesn't even know how the judiciary works. They try to explain that how can Akpabio possibly influence judgment, and they said all sorts of things. Is it possible that Akpabio may not even have a hand? Because if you follow I don't know whether you've read the judgment, it's against one other Mr. Amos, and after a deduction of some of the votes, they found out that the other guy had a simple majority. So is it possible that it could just be that he was lending out his frustration on the Senate president based on the fact that there may have been frictions within the Senate leading up till now?
Hmm?
Yes, barrister.
Or to be changed.
Okay, we have been talking about Mr. Elisha Abo, distinguished senator, accusing directly Senator Goodwill Akpabio and saying he actually influenced the judgment that took him out at the appeal. Whether he was going to go up to, whether he's going to go up to the Supreme Court, we do not know. But at this point, that was the last statement that he made in confidence, and he said from reliable sources, and he kept using the word they, them. So back to you, sir. Is it possible that Akpabio really didn't have anything to do with that judgment? All right, sir. Can you hear me clearly, sir? Barrister, are you there? Can you hear me clearly? In about a minute, we'll be due for a break. I think we should take the break now and probably effect some of the technical difficulties we may have. If you're just tuned in, it's Political Spectrum on Spectrum Television. Remember, our conversations continue on all our social media platforms as we speak on www.spectrumtvlive.ng. There is a live feed, live streaming of this program, so you can watch it on the go on all your devices. We'll go on a break and we'll be right back. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere. Join us again.
Business exists only to meet the needs of the people. But there's an extra advantage if your product and services are pitched on a platform that gives you the added advantage over your competitors. For your desired return on investment and so much more, advertise on Spectrum Television, on StarTimes DTH Channel 421 and on free-to-air with a frequency of 12733. Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon.
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigeria Police Force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the Matters Council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court,
Is
my
this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
All right, many thanks for staying tuned. If you're just tuned in, it's Political Spectrum on Spectrum Television. I will be having a robust conversations on the issues, major issues on our nation's polity and political economics. I still have with me Barrister Omo Irabor joining us virtually, providing some perspective to some of the discourse. Barrister Irabor, can you hear me clearly?
Yeah.
All right, welcome back. So we were trying to conclude on the issue of Akpabio through his aides saying that something of that nature never happened. And we went to see some parts of the judgment, Elisha Abo's judgment. There seemed to be some discrepancies and there were deductions in the votes. And when the court made the deductions, the person with the simple majority was declared the winner. Unfortunately, it was no longer Elijah Abo. So could it be that the judiciary was firm on their judgment and it had nothing to do with Akpabio? That was the last question I asked.
Like I said, the judiciary, my constituency is on trial. Well, you have said you've read the judgment and that the judges were right. Yes. Judges rely on facts and they implement the law. They do not bring their own facts. An appellate jurisdiction of a court does not even adduce evidence. They only listen to where you say there was a miscarriage of justice from a lower court. If there's no miscarriage of justice, there's nowhere to go. They will give it as it is. If there was a miscarriage of justice, they will listen to you and give you judgment. So whether Akpabio influence it or not is within the realm of conjecture. As for the aides coming out to say, yes, we didn't do, it's possible. You see, do you expect Akpabio to have kept quiet? No. He must have sent somebody to go there and say, look, tell them we didn't do it. Assuming he actually did it, he will not keep quiet. If he didn't do it, he will not keep quiet. So definitely, his saying is a non sequitur. There is something that gave him to it. What we do when we're in public position, we should mind what we do with people. People are likely to raise conjectures and begin to say what is likely and what is not. The deputy governor. And somebody went there to say many things about him. He called me, said, Amo, look at what he said about you. I know it's a lie, but there are things you are capable of saying. They merely thought that you would say it. They don't know our relationship. So that's why they thought you could say it. I know they are lying, but I dare not tell them that they are lying, otherwise they will turn it to be true. You see, in governance, you are in prison. You don't even know what's around you. You only make use of the statistics of what available to you, what your age gives to you. So whether Akpabio has anything to do with it or not, judgment of the court is judgment of the court. And that is the final decision of this matter. Stricto sensu. That's how I say it. As for the man who has lost, he has come out to say he's very popular in his consistorial district and that he will go back and contest, that they will win 2027. You know, politicians, the problem we have in the country, we don't have governance, we have politics. Even when you win today, you have been appointed today, you're already thinking of next 4 years. Instead of you to do what people elected before, you're thinking of 4 years. Who told the senator that will still be around valuable in 2027? Who told him that there won't be an election? Who told him that will still be in Nigeria? Who told him where he will be then? Doesn't even know whether he's dead, doesn't know whether he'll be in prison. So when we begin to do these permutations, alas, they don't put God into consideration. Thank God you have been able to serve at such level. They're both better than you, did not have the opportunity. Go home, my friend, and let other people try. That's what I say. Thank you.
All right, that's an interesting perspective to it. Okay, yes. moving forward, and I think you've mentioned it. You've mentioned the Senator Bukachua, now Senator Ishaku Abu.
Yes.
Two major senior members of the Red Chamber have accused the judiciary of being easily influenced by external forces to change the course of judgments. Now, this is a very serious allegation. Do you see it in the light as a lawyer? The National Judicial Council is responsible for receiving petitions on the conduct of judges and placing them under investigation and trial. So it is when the NJC says that a judge is corrupt or may have been engaged in some sharp practices, that is when such judges are disciplined. I know you would want to agree with me, Barrister. Excuse me. But moving forward, still within the Red Chamber. Yes, please correct me.
When there is a crime investigation.
Please correct.
No, when there's a criminal allegation against anybody, you don't wait for a petition. If I say armed robbers are killing people in Warri, police will say there's no petition. No! We do not, we need NJC to wade into the matter. But NJC will not wake up until there's a petition. There's a heavy allegation taking judicial notice of all over the world. It's a world press conference. Though the DSS right now have to swing to action. The police have to swing to action and be arrested. You don't even need to arrest them. Investigate for the arrest. If you have enough facts for prosecution before you invite them to the station. So we are waiting for Labo to write the petition to the NJC. That would take another. He may not even write it after all. So that's the situation.
Okay. All right. So we want
the situation is that you do not, and then there were our courts say yes, and then there were our courts say yes, Akpabio. That's why you can see that the allegation against Akpabio is not just another one. Okay, as for being high-handed, Akpabio is flippant. Like he said he was going to send them cola. They should go and check their alert. How could you have said that before to send it as president? I later said, okay, that's going to send them prayers. Prayers. What are you saying? This country, we are so complacent that anybody can do anything and get away with it. If the Senate president could say on Christmas Day, that he's sending cola to everybody to go and take their life, he's to resign immediately. But we laughed over it. And now he said he changed to prayer. Why are we praying? Which prayer? Is it a Christian prayer, Muslim prayer, or Juju prayer? Akpabio is clairvoyant. Akpabio being very close to the president that made him the president of the Senate. You should know. Akpabio did not merit it. Akpabio, like I said, by law, is not even a senator. Akpabio was involved fully in presidential campaign to become president of this country during the primaries.
Yes,
when
I remember.
APC completed their primaries in the Secretarial District in Akwa Ibom, then Ekudong was duly elected. He failed and Tinubu defeated him in the primaries of the presidency. He, like Lawa, ran back and do wayo magomango, as we put it.
So,
and then there was another.
So, Barrister, you have raised yet another
primaries
issue
for APC Secretarial District.
Yes, you have raised yet another issue bordering on our judiciary.
Yeah, by law, Akpabio is not a senator. Yes. By law, Akpabio is not a senator of the Federal Republic. We refuse to interpret the law. The judges gave it to him and removed from Ekudong. That is why people believe he's very close to the judiciary and he's a lawyer. And that being that it may, Akpabio may be doing the bidding of the president. That cannot be removed. And you know that these three arms of government, the judiciary, legislature, and the executive, they are supposed to work differently, but then they should also work harmoniously.
Completely independent.
Akpabio is the type of politician that knows how to do kickback and cook friend. Yes, a person who can go to the back and arrange a meeting and later come to attend the meeting. That's Akpabio for you. I'm sure you know him. He's a clairvoyant politician. He's everywhere. So he knows the president through and fro. He knows the House Speaker. He knows everybody. Akpabio, like I said, can go to the president and arrange a meeting. He finally come late with the friend so that they will think he doesn't know about it. That's Akpabio for you. Akpabio being doing the bidding of Tinubu. Yes, it's true. Everybody knows that. Tinubu made him president. Everybody made him president. It wasn't done in the House. It was just about stamp something. So if the people say Akpabio is not doing well, they want another president. It's a democratic system. They should impeach him and do a new one. Unfortunately, this country, when you have impeachment, they think it's a coup. They think it's unconstitutional. The Constitution made provision for impeachment and should be used when the need arises. But when you move a motion for impeachment, people think they harass you everywhere. That you want to spoil the country. You want to cause war. You want to cause this. That's the problem we have.
Okay. Okay, Barrister, but a lot of people will also argue that it may need some time, just like people are canvassing that, oh, the president has done this, and situations are worse, and people are advocating that the executive president should be given some time. Don't you think that the Senate president should also be given some time? The time is short, and when the sittings began, there were a plethora of issues to be addressed. But more importantly, civil society are of the opinion that he may have a leadership style that may create problems in future. And then they also raised an issue that he comes to plenary late and does not even allow senators to robustly have conversations and digest issues to be discussed on the floor of the House. So it's a very, very huge allegation. And you just raised the issue of an impeachment now. And a senator has come up to say that some of these things that are happening may also be connected to the rumors, according to Bush Radio, no specific person mentioned, to the rumors that he might likely be impeached. Yeah, Barrister, are you still there?
It's not talking.
I'm here. Are you still there?
I'm much better here. So what I am saying, can you hear me?
Very clearly.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Very clearly, sir. I can hear you.
What
clearly.
I am saying is, in every leadership, no leader comes to a meeting without a meeting before the meeting. I'm sure you know that.
Yes.
When there's going to be a plenary sitting tomorrow, the senators who will raise issues would have discussed. What is going to be raised would have been at the table of the president. Akpabio is not new to the system. He has been a senator for long. So giving him time to actualize or to stabilize is a lie. But what I'm saying is that Akpabio knows what he's doing. Akpabio is not new in the system. Akpabio was the governor for 8 years. He has been a senator now for almost another 8 years. And yet you are saying give it time to stabilize. No! Akpabio is a senator who knows what he's doing. And all the senators there too, they know they are of bastard. With all due respect to some of them in Labour and others who are being wiped online now. Before the Senate plenary sitting, anybody who have a motion to introduce, send the copies to his fellow senators. And Akpabio will have it. 3 days they are still studying it. They phone each other and agree. So what you are seeing there in the very preliminary is merely in fact, it's a rehearsal. It's what they have already done. So when you hear that, hey, this one is bad, this one is bad, Ndume is right. Ndume does not like the way Akpabio is going about it. Remember Ndume was the campaign manager for Akpabio. Akpabio has probably underplayed him, and that's why he's not happy. So definitely, the Senate we have now, all of them are playing to the gallery, and they are going to Tinubu to get whatever it is, so as to have good faith. Akpabio is known to be, like I said, a clairvoyant politician who knows what to do. He deliberately come to meeting late so that they would have discussed. Deliberately come to the plenary late because he wants people who were planning certain things, who have been waited and tired, and raise their emotions. I know when you are already emotional, you cannot make good points. That's what he does. He's a clairvoyant politician. That's what I can say.
Okay, you've already started my final question before we wrap up. We all watched the drama at the Senate yesterday. And what led to the walkout of Senator Ali Ndume, who accused the Senate president of not following House rules? How do you see this in that light? I don't know whether my producer has some of those Senate House rules. Let's even go through a few of them and read. Is it Order 51 that was moved by Ndume? Order 51 of the Senate Standing Rules requested that the Senate President should allow for the correction of any error made or observed during plenary. And then Order 16 requires substantive motion to be moved by any senator seeking to correct or review an earlier decision taken. That was by the Deputy Senate President. Then Order 54 allows to seek correction of perceived errors. But Ndume was really cross because each time he raised the order and wanted to express himself, he was stood down. I think that was part of the issue. And a lot of people have also argued that Senator Akpabio's ego may have been bruised by someone perceived to be close to him raising an issue at plenary about his errors as Senate President. So, I believe that you know that a lot of people have a way of handling ego issues in different ways, and those are part of the issues that are being raised, why people are calling for Akpabio's head based on the fact that he may have a very weird or queer style of leadership, although Akpabio has a lot of other good qualities. But I want you to comment on that as we wrap up on the show.
Let me tell you,
yes, tell me,
these people were elected to represent us. It's not personal. Ego or no ego is not what they were elected to go and keep. If you are wrong, as Section 61 says, a senator is allowed to move a motion to correct an earlier error that was detected. The president should not overrule such a thing.
And he was overruled and stood down.
It's not personal. It's not his own house, not his company. And he overruled him 2-3 times. That too will not go well with any good senator. He has a right, as of right, he can stand up and say, no, this is not what the rule says. Then you would have allowed him. Then let me tell you, Akpabio was not tactical. Would have allowed him to finish the motion. Secondly, by another person, he would say, can we now please adjourn this motion for next plenary section? Then it will close the Senate. Adjourn is in there, die. But for him to be raising shoulders and say, sit down, no, I overrule you. So it's becoming too personal, as if there's something between him and Ndume. And for God's sake, Ndume is representing a senatorial district in this country. He was speaking on behalf of his district.
That is true.
Akpabio, being Senate President is just administrative. It does not make him more of a senator than another person. So Akpabio should not bring his personal ego into the matter. That's the issue. So Order 61 has not been abrogated. It's still what there. And the